Wonderful man. Herbert S. Tuttleton. Give it up.
Hello? I am Herbert S. Tuttleton, esteemed playwright and film auteur. Perhaps you have seen my work on the off-Broadway production of Daddy, Don't Wake Up! An adaptation of the classic Milton Bradley board game Don't Wake Daddy. Surprise! In the third act, he wakes up. I was also writer's assistant on the children's cartoon My Little Pony. As my agent at Gersh once told me, I don't represent you, get out of here! And so I am heeding his advice, getting out here doing stand-up comedy. I can think of no better way than to spend my weekday evenings filled in a dimly lit room that is overcrowded and a fire hazard with a bunch of degenerates. If you allow me to begin, I will perform stand-up on you. I have rubbed elbows with the Hollywood elite. As Brad Pitt once said to me, hey, Postmates. At a gala event at the Chateau Marmont, Amber Heard noticed me from across the room and exclaimed, oh my God, he's in the vents? And as Steven Spielberg once said to me in a used car lot, stay the hell away from my kids. However, not all celebrity interactions are as gracious. I once saw Gilbert Gottfried and Carl's Jr., and let it be known that I have a killer Gottfried impression. I performed it on him, and he said, that's really good. Why don't you come over here, away from everybody else? Okay, come on over here. If you ever do that impression again, I will find you, and I will kill you. All right, thanks for coming. If you cannot garnish from my appearance, I have impeccable taste. But then you may also know that I love anime, or as the Japanese call it, anime, or as the Swedish call it, yanime. I also enjoy watching cartoon pornography, or as the Japanese call it, anime, or as the Swedish call it, fucking gross. I watch cartoon pornography because I can watch my favorite TV characters add to the canon of my favorite TV shows. When you know that Bart has had a three-way with Milhouse and Moe the bartender, it deepens every episode of The Simpsons that you watch. Deepens. The possibility for crossover is also endless. I've seen the booger from the Mucinex commercials fuck Clippy, the Microsoft Office assistant. And before you can ask me, how does a human-sized paperclip come? He comes very big and in the form of a perfect letter. As is with most people in LA, I have a deal with Netflix. I shall now pitch you my show ideas so that I can gauge your response and use them on the Netflix execs. This first show is called K-9, where the kids make the dog the teacher. It writes itself. The log line is, now you can say the dog ate your homework. It writes itself. They do it, and they have to pretend at a PTA meeting that the dog isn't a dog, and they somehow pull it off. But one episode, the dog eats all the bones from the skeleton in the biology lab, and they have to explain that. And also, he hugs a kid with autism that's going through a fit. So sometimes he's more of a principal, and sometimes he's more of a regular fucking dog. If you did not like that one, I have one in reserve. It is much like a children's animated film, like The Brave Little Toaster, except that a shower fucks a toilet. It is called Badaby's Big Day Debut. It is part of a trilogy series. The second film is Badaby's Big Day Debut, Tale of the Two Showers, and the third and ultimate film is called Badaby's Big Day Debut, Fight for the Porcelain Throne. Cancel culture is alive and well. I somehow have dodged the bullet on that because if you take one look at me, you're like, yeah, that guy did something. However, there is one thing that has been living with us for decades and it has not been canceled. And I will now prove this to you now by a show of hands. Who here prefers the taste of Pepsi? Exactly! Pepsi has been living with us for decades and has not been canceled. How can a company survive by showing a commercial where Kylie Jenner solves racial injustice by handing a Pepsi to a bunch of cops? It's only gotten worse. Somehow that company has still survived. It has still survived. Here's a fun fact. We know who owns Amazon. It's Jeff Bezos. Can anyone tell me who owns Pepsi? Close. Very close. It is Ramon LaGuarta. And the board of directors that he reports to is all the white, rich guys who ran Pepsi in the 80s. What I'm saying is that we have 5 Jeff Bezos about ready to go off on this thing. Here's another thing about Pepsi. In the 1990s, they brokered a $3 million deal with Russia, which was now, at that time, the Soviet Union. Pepsi gave the Soviet Union Pepsi. The Soviet Union gave Pepsi 14 submarines, a warship, a destroyer, and all the vodka they could drink. What I'm saying is that in 1990, Pepsi could become a world power, and it makes sense because no one wants Pepsi in their fountain drinks, and they show up with 14 submarines and a warship, and they're like, this is a Pepsi world now. If you have to make up for that by making Steve Carell, Little John, and Cardi B say that Pepsi is okay, you need to be canceled. This is a very strong opinion that I see that no one is on board with. I hope you all can enjoy a cool, refreshing Pepsi. You snakes, go order a Jack and Pepsi from the bar. The bartender will look at you, and then a gun will be pushed into the small of his back, and he'll be like, okay, Pepsi. In closing, I want feminists to know that I am an ally. And feminists want me to know that they are not interested. I have been Herbert S. Tuttleton. No autographs, please. Good day.